Today we're going to do a little install, $30 eBay air intake for an RSX Type-S. It's been well overdue for this car, so we'll go ahead and get started. I wasn't able to record audio at the time, but I started by removing the stock airbox. There's a 10mm flange bolt on the engine side of the airbox closest to the front of the car, then a 10mm nut on the same side but back toward the firewall. Then there's a small rubber cap located on the driver's side of the airbox that you must remove to reveal the last 10mm mounting screw. Remove the hose clamp coming off the valve cover and another connecting the intake coupler. Pull the airbox out, unplug the sensor on the intake coupler and loosen the clamp that holds the coupler onto the throttle body, and pull that coupler out. My old airbox was definitely due for a replacement. You can see that half the screws are rusted out and I had to tech screw a piece of red Kydex in to replace a cracked part. Here I'm sandblasting the rust off the clamp that keeps the temp sensor in place. Now I'm installing the intake air temp sensor into the new intake piping with the clamp that I just sandblasted. The air filter just slides over the end of the intake pipe and is held in place with a hose clamp. Mine just happened to require an 8mm socket. This piece is just a silicone coupler that fits on the other end of the intake piping and connects the intake to the throttle body. So originally I installed the new intake off camera, but quickly realized that it was too long and rubbed on my tie rods. So I pulled it back out of the car and used an angle grinder with a cutoff wheel off camera to chop roughly an inch of the intake pipe off to get me that clearance I needed between the tie rods and the end of the pod filter. Here I filed and sanded the burrs and sharp edges off so they wouldn't get caught on the silicone inlet of the pod filter. To install, first I put the silicone coupler on the intake pipe and secured the hose clamp. Then I slipped it over the throttle body and tightened the second hose clamp down. Next I hooked up the two hoses on the engine side of the intake. One of them doesn't require a clamp and the other one does, so I just used a pair of pliers to set that one in place. Lastly, I plugged the intake air temp sensor connector in, then started the car to hear how it sounds.